Got it.
Welcome, everybody, to this mini pod review of Marvel's What If on Disney Plus. I'm Leo.
I'm Mike.
We're your hosts from Films and Fermentation, here to answer the question, what if this show really is necessary?
Necessary? I don't know if it's necessary.
Reality is not a straight line. Every passing moment is a chance for a new offshoot, a new variation. In fact, there are more realities than you could possibly fathom. An infinite number of what ifs. Jeffrey Wright, and as the voice of the Watcher in Marvel's What If, I can see what few others can. The totality of the multiverse across all time and space. The stories you thought you knew, nothing like you remember. Familiar faces in unfamiliar roles. Star-Lord! The captain.
Women aren't soldiers.
Howard, get ready.
Agent Carter!
No one expected. Foes. Friends. Wow, I did not see that coming.
So there you have it, folks. That was the teaser trailer for the Disney Plus animated series What If from the Marvel Universe. Mike and I are going to do a little quick mini pod review. We'll try to stay away from spoilers if possible. But what we're going to do is just kind of give a little quick rundown of the episodes so far. There's going to be 9 episodes in the season, and as of the recording of this little mini pod, there have been 7 episodes that have premiered. The first is What If Captain Carter were the first Avenger? What do you think of that episode, Mike?
It wasn't bad. I thought it was more predictable than anything. It was just slight differences from the original storyline. So
yeah, I didn't think it was a bad premiere episode. I could always use a little more Peggy Carter in my life because I feel like they gave her a chance to be more badass than she usually is in that episode.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought it was a good episode in terms of explaining what the series is supposed to be.
Yeah, it didn't go too far to the left or the right.
No, not really.
Just a little different.
Yeah, because then you get to the second episode, which was What If T'Challa becomes Star-Lord?
Which went to the left field.
Yeah, which was it had some pretty comical moments in it. You see that Thanos is now a member of the Ravagers. You have hot blonde Nebula.
Yeah, I think the premise of that episode is how he became Star-Lord was a little far-fetched.
Yeah, and having him kind of like return to Wakanda at some point, and yeah, I mean it was an entertaining episode, but definitely not like my favorite of the season. My favorite of the season so far has been the third episode, which was What If the World Loses Its Mightiest Heroes?
Yeah, that was a very good episode.
Yeah, we've been referring to this as the Avengers Death episode. And I'm not going to say like who the villain is and what it is, he does to get away with his crimes and all that. But it's basically what if the Avengers were assassinated before they had a chance to even become the Avengers, and how do you do that? It's sort of like a murder mystery with Fury, Maria Hill, and Black Widow kind of trying to solve this mystery.
Yep.
And to me right now, like that's been my favorite one of the season so far. I think that's the one that's had the.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, it hasn't gone too far off the rails in terms of changing the history of the characters, and kind of makes sense. The next episode was What If Doctor Strange loses his heart instead of his hands? That was a pretty dark episode.
It was, but I would go with the thought if you change something. Something's going to be, sometimes bad things happen.
Yeah.
And that's what this one is.
And that's what it is. And it also has that sort of like Groundhog Day element to it. Like he keeps trying to change the past, but it's not working. I mean, he does the same thing in the Doctor Strange movie to defeat Dormammu. He keeps going back and repeating himself. But in this case, it's all negative effects. The problem I had with it was his relationship with I can't think of the woman's name, the character's name. She was played by Rachel McAdams in the movie.
Yeah.
Is they didn't give her too much agency in the movie. I think it was a smaller role than it should have been.
Well, I think his affection for her had changed because at that time frame in the movie, they weren't together.
No.
He pretty much, they were they had a thing, they're friends. She still was there, but he,
I think it like kind of stretches it for him to go looking after for these dark arts or whatever.
Right.
It makes more sense when he loses his hands because he's looking for a way to cure himself.
Right.
The next episode 5, is what I think is probably my second favorite episode of the season and the darkest episode, which is the zombies. What if zombies?
That was
it was a creepy episode. There were some cool little like matchups there, like you get to see Spider-Man working with the Wasp, which is something that you haven't seen in the Avengers films.
Ape and Ant-Man.
Yeah, you got I liked Happy Hogan using Iron Man's fist, and every time he shot the rays, he'd go boom, bam, bam. So I mean, it was definitely though a dark, very dark episode. Even especially the way it ends, like the very very ending stinger. It's been my next favorite so far, besides the Avengers Death episode. I think I like that the superhero zombies retain their ability to use their powers too.
Oh yeah,
making them like even more dangerous. Episode 6 was what if Killmonger rescued Tony Stark. This one was okay.
It wasn't bad.
It's another dark episode. All the episodes had some tinge of darkness to them, though. I feel like,
except for the last one.
We'll get to that. Like the Killmonger one, because he's still Killmonger. It's not necessarily like he's a good guy in this sense.
No, and after that one, and Adrian hadn't seen it, but she asked me about it because I watched it earlier today, and I told her what happened and parts of it, and she's like, "They only bring Tony back to kill him."
Yeah, basically. And that brings us to what is so far my least favorite episode of the season, which just premiered this week. What if Thor were an only child?
Okay. I can't say it was my least favorite.
I thought it was pretty dumb.
I thought it was a nice
it was a change of pace.
Palate cleanser.
Yeah, it was
from all the darkness.
Yeah,
I mean,
change of pace from the other episodes.
He was actually Point Break.
Yeah, he was Point Break. Yeah, I like that Loki was the ice giant Loki.
Yeah, and his brother from another mother.
Yeah, and I mean, it had some funny moments, but I don't know, because I felt like it was such a tonal difference from the way the rest of the show has been so far. And then,
well, the first one wasn't that dark.
Yeah,
I thought, like I said, it wasn't dark. Then it went dark. Well, and the second one wasn't really that dark.
It's like that those middle episodes.
Yeah, just the middle episodes. I thought this one, they needed it to lighten the air some because they've been so dark.
I would say the first 2 episodes, even though they weren't like darker episodes, they had some comedic stuff to them. They at least, I felt like, had a point to the story. This one, I couldn't figure out what the point was.
I thought it was just to lighten the mood.
Just that Thor's a petulant child because he didn't have Loki torturing him growing up.
Yeah, and I think it was it's a throwback to like all those 80s sitcoms and movies where the kid throws a party and has to clean up before the parents get home.
Yeah.
So,
and it did it, but it also had a very, and I'm not going to say what the ending is. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but like that, it's a very quizzical ending to me.
Unless it's going to come up again later.
I hope so. I mean, it's a cool visual.
It is.
And a stunning like reveal, but really didn't make sense in the context of the rest of the show. So, and that is the 7 episodes that have premiered so far as of the recording of this little mini pod. There's 2 more episodes to go. Next one will be coming up on September 29th, and the finale is October 6th. And according to IMDb, they've already been renewed for a season 2.
And there's one other thing I want to talk about the series real quick is what I like is they got most of the actors to come back to be the voices.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them, not all of them, but most of them.
It's nice that, it's like you get to hear Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther one more time.
Yeah.
And most of the actors, I think it was Natalie Portman was not.
Yes, she was.
Was that Jane? Was Natalie Portman?
She was. I think it's just Tony
Stark, Steve Rogers, and Black Widow. I don't think have been
Black Widow, and I don't think Tom Holland was Spider-Man.
No, he wasn't Spider-Man either. But I think for the most part, it's been the rest of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad show. It has some good moments, has some what if moments. And I think it's finding its legs. So maybe the second season will be a little bit stronger.
Yeah,
we'll see. So that's our mini pod review of the Marvel series What If, which can be found on Disney Plus. Please join us next week for our season 2 premiere episode. It'll be another full length episode. We'll be joined by our buddy Kevin, and we'll be inebriated probably while recording the show. If we're lucky.
Yeah.
So for Films and Fermentation, I'm Leo.
I'm Mike.
Don't forget to send us your emails at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com. Visit us on our social media platforms. Check out our website. And come join us next week for our season 2 premiere. Cheers, everybody. Good night.
Cheers.